Hi guys, Primetime Mitch here. A little different setting as I am at my parents' for the week, so I'm going to try and get as much content out as possible. And I'm going to try and watch as many movies as possible, and particularly ones I am backtracking on that I have been a little bit late to the party to. And one of those is Clown in a Cornfield, directed by Eli Craig. I left a very quick review on social media about this if you wanted to check that out, but this obviously goes a bit more in depth. There will be spoilers in this review as well. Please do not go any further than this. If you haven't seen the movie, please put this in your watch later, go see the movie and then check out what I have to say about it. And also on the way, hit a subscribe and a like down below and that notification bell so you are up to date with all content that is released onto Primetime Mitch, and there's going to be quite a lot. So Clown in a Cornfield, I didn't really have any expectations other than a fun slasher. That's the kind of movie I was looking for. I know that Eli Craig's work includes Tucker and Dale versus Evil, so I thought, well, there will be a lashings of comedy in this one. And for the most part, it is kind of run-of-the-mill. You've got Quinn and her father, who is a doctor, and they've moved to the town of Kettle Springs. Its claim to fame is corn syrup, specifically Bay Pen corn syrup, and the mascot of the town is Frendo the Clown. I like the idea of this. I quite like clown movies. There's a few I like. Obviously, It goes without saying, but I do like Clown, the movie, which I think is really dark, a really strong horror, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Things like anything involving clowns is always interesting because it does sort of tap into a really uneasy fear we have, but at the same time, it keeps the comedy quite strong. It depends how dark you want to go with it. But again, I wasn't expecting a really scary, dark horror. I do like my horrors more scary than comedy, but I knew I was going into a horror comedy. I'm not expecting anything. Didn't read the reviews, didn't even look at the trailers really. So that does help. Yeah, you've got Quinn and you've got her dad, and they are settling in, and she is not settling in very well. She has lost her mother, and she is dealing with it in a different way to her father, and they're clashing as a result. I know she's had trauma, but I don't think she treats her father particularly well, and I guess that's the sort of full circle thing you want to come around eventually. But Katie Douglas plays the part well enough. I just didn't really attach to her character that much. She gets involved with a group of teenagers who are much maligned by the seniors of the town. They are blamed for everything. They are a bit douchey. I mean, they've got this sort of YouTube channel and they're sort of using the town's lore as a way to promote it. They were involved or there and thereabouts with a fire at the Bay Pen factory, which has sort of caused a lot of trouble in town, and they are blamed for that. Whether they're actually guilty of it is another matter, but they are basically disliked by everybody in the town and probably treated in a very unreasonable way by the teachers, by the sheriff, and there is that generational battle straight away that you notice. And I'm kind of always a traditionalist myself, but at the same time, I can see when it goes to unreasonable levels, and that's what this movie is trying to push, I think. I think Aaron Abrams is quite good as the father. I think it's a good performance by him. I've only ever seen him in 388 Arletta Avenue, and I didn't really like that movie. Nothing really to do with him so much as the plot and the decisions of the characters. But I wasn't really as familiar with his work, but I thought he was really good, and I think he could do a lot more in the future in this kind of genre, maybe even more darker horror. Seems to be a bit gruffer looking now than he used to be. It was nice to see Will Sasso as well in an outlandish performance. As a wrestling fan, I remember him as the Steve Austin impersonator. As far as the movie goes and how it progresses, like I said, the first half of it is pretty straightforward. The kills aren't really that imaginative or impressive. They feel kind of rushed, particularly the one with the guy who is lifting the barbell. Appalling form, by the way, and I'm pretty sure that was on purpose. I thought that was lazy and rushed and also probably not plausible. But you do get a sort of a twist in the tale towards the back end of the movie, and that does actually make it quite interesting. It turns from that usual slasher to something slightly different and something sort of grander scale. And also at that point, you start seeing better visuals, because throughout the movie it looks nice, it's shot well, it looks quite grimy and creepy, and that sort of counterbalances some of the comedy that you get. The character dynamics are okay, not too deep. I mean, we know a lot about Quinn, we don't really know much about Cole, played by Carson McCormack. You do learn a bit more about him over time, as well as his friend Rust, and the main people of this movie are given some depth. Everybody's pretty throwaway, but you need throwaways in slashers. And this kind of brings me on to my point that I could say this was pretty disappointing and it wasn't everything I hoped it would be. But at the same time, we don't want to lose that retro slasher. We had so much fun with Friday the 13th, Sleepaway Camp, The Burning, all these movies that were just a slasher terrorizing teens. And if we lose that altogether and we try and get too intricate, technical and detailed and complex and layered about every movie now, we're going to lose the fun. So movies like this still need to exist. So for that, I give it a lot of credit. And you can have a lot of fun with this movie on Halloween. It would be a great little popcorn watch. I like the idea of Friendo. I think that's a really marketable mask as well. I hope I see it along my travels, maybe at the convention in October. I do have somewhat of a problem with an issue at the end, which is sort of glaring, but I don't know whether they're leaving it open for a sequel or whether they just totally forgot about it altogether. I like to think they're leaving it open for a sequel, although it still doesn't really explain the behavior of the characters in that moment. But I guess you'll understand that when you come to it. If not, I can always explain it if you drop in the comments. So that is my review of Clown in a Cornfield. It's only a quick one. It's immediate. I've not had a really great deal of chance to think about it, but it's nice to get my thoughts out there, my initial thoughts. And if anybody really enjoyed this movie or really disliked this movie, please let me know down in the comments. Tell me what you thought of it. I'm always very open to discussion. And also, thank you so much in advance. Please leave a like and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. It'll do me a world of good and sets me off on my target for the year. But horror fans, if you enjoy Clown in a Cornfield, hit the like button. If you didn't enjoy it, still hit that like button, but tell me why. That's it from Primetime Mitch for Clown in a Cornfield. Go check it out if it's in cinemas. Make sure you get this dose of retro slasher because we'll feel the loss if they ever disappear. Have a good day, everybody.